I think this is about 2.5 kilometres, thereabouts. So a fair test for a handheld, to be fair, on FM. Let's give it a go, shall we? Audio test, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Whoa. Hello and welcome back to the channel. On this video, we're finally getting around to look at the new Quansheng, the TK11. A radio that you would have already seen on the internet because they have absolutely advertised this to the max. I mean, every time you go on your phone or look at Facebook or something, this keeps popping up with this gorilla type logo. They've really capitalised on the fact that the original Quan was so popular, and for good reason, because it was so programmable with third-party firmware. Things like Exuma really lifted this little radio to a new level. So we've got the new one in here. As I say, I'm a little bit probably a little bit late to the party with it. I wanted to test the iRadio first because this was sort of part of the new generation of radios, and we have got these coming in fast and furious now. I've even got another one downstairs which is a lot cheaper than this, and we'll be looking at that in a later video. I kind of feel they're maybe rushing it a little bit with these radios, because when I tested the iRadio, harmonic wise and spurious RF frequencies, they're not very clean when they transmit on the 27 megahertz band. Yeah, I do think they are rushing. We'll test this later in the video, but whether this one's any cleaner. Anyway, let's have a closer look what we get in the box, because it is a very nice box for your money. It is very nicely presented. Let's get it on the bench, see what we get. This version of the Quansheng and its rather nice box came in from Banggood. This is a genuine Quansheng. I would be very cautious about buying on certain other marketplaces. I imagine this is going to be cloned just as bad as the first Quang, so I would recommend Banggood. They sell genuine items. As I say, it's a nice box. I'm going to say that. Quite a big box compared to the original radio. Radio itself, we'll have a closer look at that in a moment. I haven't put a battery in. Nice to see the construction. I mean, it's hard to knock these radios for what they cost. Alloy chassis here has a waterproof orange gasket around the battery. I'm not sure of the IP rating on this. I don't suppose it's 68 or anything like that, but it's certainly going to be shower and splash proof. Okay, get a very fancy little lanyard here, very proudly stating that they've been around since 1984. That's news to me, I must admit. But yeah, okay, I think that might release, maybe. Oh, it does, there you go. That's quite fancy. I mean, I don't know if people use wrist lanyards. I'm just not something I use myself, but if you do, that is quite nice. Radio guide, user's manual. Yeah, I tend to sort of try and sort of get by just by fiddling with the radio, to be perfectly honest. It's all there. It's all there in the guide if you're going to use it. I know some of you will. There's lots of online guides as well. A wall socket adapter with a Euro style shaver plug. Does come with a full 3-pin UK adapter. Note they are insulated. The pins, same on the adapter there. So that should be type approved. A little bit wobbly, but that should work. Also, a base unit for charging, which will work. Yes, it will work with that adapter. Does have a, yep, has a LED as well. Quite nice, you get that. And also you just get a standard USB-C if you want to charge straight into the battery. Not seeing a programming cable. Hopefully the radio will have a standard Kenwood port then. And then a metal, yeah, a metal alloy, branded no less, belt clip, which feels incredibly strong. Probably won't be using that myself. And that's about it. That's about all we get in the box. So we don't get all of those fancy donut antennas that we got with the iRadio. That's worth noting. And we also don't get a longer 771 antenna. We just get, say, this very odd quad band antenna. But that's what we get in the box. Let's clear the bench and put the battery on and have a closer look. We mentioned the frequencies the radio works with. So as far as transmit, TX, 25 to 29.8 megahertz, 10 and 11 meters. How clean the radio will be, we'll find out later on. Does the 6 meter band as well, so that's 50 to 54, 2 meters, 136 to 174, 70 sems, 400 to 470, includes 446. As far as the receive goes, it's completely wide actually, 153 kilohertz all the way up to 1.1 gig or 1160 megahertz. That's quite amazing how it can receive so much. Not particularly a heavy radio really. It feels a bit unwieldy with this coil at the top. Comes in at 284 grams. Ships with firmware version 5.0.9. Obviously that is upgradable. I know some of you will go straight to the upgrade. As far as your transmit goes, pretty much like the iRadio, it's only going to transmit on FM. There's no AM or SSB transmit. Price on the radio originally was $100, currently down to about $80 now, or UK price around about 50 to 60 pounds. Claims to be a full 10 watt transceiver. You're not going to get 10 watts right across the range. I'll try and see if I can test it before the end of the video, but I'd imagine you'll probably get half of that, certainly on the CB band. Overall look at the radio, it's actually quite nice. You've got this metal look plate on the outside with these sort of chromed hex bolts, very much like the original radio. Obviously that little bit bigger. Speaker looks to be about the same size. That was one thing that let the original radio down. The speaker did sound very thin, but this being a slightly thicker case, that should help the audio, but we'll test that later on. I do like the LCD. Obviously not a fancy great colour screen, but it is quite readable. It does look a little bit washed out, I must admit, with the backlight. It's coming out on camera worse than it looks in the real world, but obviously when the backlight goes off, and I've set it long for 30 seconds for the video, but it will be perfectly readable in sunshine, which none of these new colour screens are, unfortunately. Side of the radio, dual PTT. Now this is a dual VFO radio. Whether there's actually two sets of tunings in there, I'm not really sure, to be honest. It claims to be dual VFO, but obviously you push that one, it transmits on the bottom. That one transmits on the top. Got to be careful because I haven't programmed this radio yet. So that's quite an improvement. Then we've got two different buttons here. These will be programmable in the radio memories itself using the keypad, or obviously if you're going to connect it to a computer. Now that's important. What sort of connectivity? Got a blanking plate here that doesn't seem to come up. This is where I break the radio. And then we've got the tuning port. Oh great, there you go, look at that. Great, standard Kenwood port. I don't understand why a lot of these radios are going to Motorola style ports, because they're not IP68 rated. Really pleased to see that. So all of your Baofeng accessories and your existing prolific Baofeng cables will work in that port. No reason to change that. If it ain't broke, guys, just do not change it. Quite like to see that. Now moving on to the top of the radio. Oh, we've got a little flashlight, so I imagine that's that button. Yeah, it's nice to see the flashlight back. We've been missing that on radios, and they tell me it's because of the GPS antenna has to go in there. Now I'm going to remove the tri-band antenna here. So that's a standard SMA MAL. And then we have got the additional port. Now normally this would be a SMA connector, but under this little rubber thing we've just got a 3.5mm jack, which the idea being they want you to put the T-bar in there, and that's how the T-bar works. Now let me just move the camera up for you. There you go. Now I suppose that's fine. I mean, I've got no problem with that. That will work fine on the medium wave. The only problem is if you want to connect a longer antenna for listening to shortwave, which is what you're going to need to do, then you're going to be restricted. I do happen to have a extension cable, but if you want to put a telescopic antenna on, you're going to have to buy a separate adapter. I did look, they're about £5, sorry, UK, on Amazon, probably about $6 or $7. It's not expensive, but I got a feeling myself that's going to wiggle about a little bit, you know. I personally would have, is that going to fall off? That's going to fall off, but personally I think that's a bit of a foul. I think an SMA would have been much better. But that's what they've decided to do. Now, one thing that I really like about this radio already is that they've prioritised the second function on the numerical keypad. So as we can see here, see the second functions are in blue. These are shortcuts to the menu system. And normally you'd have to press a function button and then press them. But on this radio, they are prioritised. So for example here, if we want to go to the squelch, it's going to blow out a little bit on the camera there. But if I press that, turn the volume up,
squelch.
Straight away we are into the squelch. Really useful. Again, if we exit that and we want to change the power, that's button 6.
Power.
Straight away there we just press that high,
Power.
medium, low. No messing about, no double press. Really good. Thumbs up for that introduction. Again, changing from the frequency mode to the channel mode, very simple, has its own dedicated button, no double press.
Frequency mode, channel mode 1.
Really good with that. The rest of the buttons, the keys, they're slightly smaller than I think they were on the original Quang. They've gone their own way this time. Changed the A and B, the VFOs. Doesn't announce it, but very easy. And then you've got your menu system. Let me tune into the screen a little bit better, and we'll have a quick look at the menus. So into the menu system, it's not too complicated, to be honest.
Menu.
We have a general setting here. We can go into this. This is all for setting up the radio. The key beeps, of course, which are really annoying. Voice. Mic levels, which is quite good. There must be a screen brightness somewhere, but I haven't actually found it yet. Yeah. When it comes to the basic AM broadcast band, I'm not all that impressed with this ferrite rod here. I just don't think it really creates enough gain. Now, to be fair, we're up in the shack. I've got all of the lights and the camera running, so it's a very hard test. But I should be able to get this AM station, but it's struggling.
How far below the level of the green he is as he lines this one up. The cameraman has just walked right in front of me, so I can't quite see him, but I've got a heap of photos. It's absolutely crowded right here. There's barely a patch of grass. Just this one, just inch to the left, and now
Just doesn't seem to be getting enough gain. Now, I have got another ferrite rod antenna, which is a better one, but unfortunately, because of this volume control here, something encoder part, it doesn't quite fit in properly. But even though I only get it about halfway in, if I turn the volume up before I put it in, it works better.
There, had it right tracking online and just came up a foot short.
He's not even going to mark this one, Mark. He's just going to send it
A few inches across the turf, and there we are, first birdie of the day for Rory McIlroy. He moves from...
You see, it's just hasn't got the gain really. So yeah, I'm not really sure about this. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to do. Certainly not a very good AM antenna, not what I'm finding up here anyway. Oh well, let's move on. When it comes down to the programming, I think this will eventually be supported by Chirp. But I went to the main Quansheng website. You'll find all the downloads at the bottom of the page. Usual thing, it goes into a zip file. You get the normal Windows warnings, so more info, then run anyway. It all installs and you end up with this icon on your desktop. By default, it starts up in Chinese. That's easy to change. Just a little drop down menu at the top puts it into English. And that's really about it. To read and write from the radio are the two icons you can see here in the box. I'm not going to show you how to program a radio. Most of you would know how to copy and paste your frequencies in and change all of the program buttons on the radio. So I'll leave that up to you. You'll get the idea.
Just coming up to the noisy part of the road then. Just before I do the test, thank you for the people that left comments about this 27 megahertz antenna that I picked up from Amazon. A few of you did say that this black section, you can slide this up and then you can unscrew it to improve the SWR. Not on this version that I've got. This is quite firmly glued down, and you can twist it, but it feels like it's going to break. So I think maybe on the other versions, but not on the version that I've got. So anyway, we're just coming up to the flyover. So as you know, if you're regular to the channel, this is 800 meters approximately from the Alliance HS4 at the QTH, and it should have no trouble. I'm going to try and go out a little bit further today because it's cooler and currently it's not raining. Join me when I get up the top there when I'm out of breath. Here we go then. Exactly the same test we did on the iRadio. Maximum full power. I haven't tested the power yet. We'll do that later on in the video. Channel 30 on the UK FM Muppets. Your audio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your audio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the flyover, high power on the Quansheng. So audio, 1, 2, 1, 2, audio. Here we go then. We're out to the 1500 metre mark, which is about a mile, I think. Shouldn't be any problem with the radio. Let's give it a go. Audio test at 1 mile, 15. Audio test at 1 mile, 1500 metres. 1500 metres. Audio check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the Quansheng. Audio, Mary had a little lamb. So here we are then on the rather noisy second flyover, or bridge if you like. I think this is about 2.5 kilometres, thereabouts. So a fair test for a handheld, to be fair, on FM. Let's give it a go, shall we? Audio test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Audio test, 1, 2, 1, 2, audio. On the Quansheng, second flyover. Audio, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mary had a little lamb, etc., etc. Power test then on UK FM CB, channel 30. Exactly the same setup as we did with the iRadio, running into this 50 ohm dummy load, who I call Gary, and SWR power meter. High power on the radio. Let's key up. Okay, peaking at 5.8 watts. We're going a bit higher now, 5.94. Just let that settle down again, do it again. Almost 6 watts out of the radio. %, power transference. So the SWR isn't perfect. I think someone commented on that. It's probably this cable. This mini cable probably is losing a little tiny bit of power, but almost 6 watts. I mean, you can't moan really, can you, at the cost of these radios? Now, the next question, of course, is going to be the Harmonics. Is that 6 clean watts on 27 megahertz? I very much doubt it. So let's crack on and do a Harmonics test. Harmonics then. I think this is where it's all going to go wrong for this radio. I don't think these radios can possibly be clean. So here's the port X VNSA on its harmonic mode. You may remember from previous videos, I'll zoom in and pause the screen when I've done the test, but you've got these little grids here, and each grid, each box is minus 10 dB. We need 4 clear boxes from the fundamental signal to the first harmonic to pass an FCC test. I don't think so, but let's just key up. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, as I thought. Let's zoom into the screen and see what we got. So as your result, guys, it's a little bit depressing, really. So you remember that we need 4 of these squares clear for minus 40 dB. If you look at the primary signal there, 28.03, and I was transmitting on 27.89. You get away with that on FM because it's so wide, but the radio isn't even transmitting cleanly on frequency.
So if we count 4 of these little squares here, 1, 2, 3, 4, everything above this line here has not passed. Number 5 barely passed, around about the 140 megahertz. 6, no, 7. And they say it's a little bit worrying here because we're going into the air band here. So around here and here we are into the air band, and we are definitely transmitting a harmonic number 4 slap band in the middle of the air band. So yeah, not very good. I didn't think it would be. I think they just rushed these radios out a little bit too much. They need some proper bandpass filtering in the radio, and they're not doing it. They're just banging them out. Some people won't care about this, of course. Personally, I'm not happy with it. It is what it is. It's a fun radio, but it does come at a price. Going to split this one into 2 videos, I think. It's going on too long, and it's just because the radio does so much. You do get a hell of a lot for your money. We haven't even looked at the second input on the radio for the HF shortwave band, the ham bands, medium wave, FM, long wave, I think. It does air band, but I don't know if I'll test that, and also the PMR, it transmit on PMR. So we're only just over halfway through, really. So far, I'm not going to give a full conclusion at this point. There's a couple of bits that I really like of this radio over the iRadio. The first thing is the speaker. I do like the fact it's got its own grille. It just seems a bit louder and a little bit clearer. I'm not so keen on the ones that have got it behind the keypad. And I especially like the plain, simple backlit LCD screen. Those colour screens, they look fantastic when we're up here in the darkness, but as soon as you go outside on anything like a bright sunny day, it just goes black and you can't see it, no matter how you set the contrast. LCD screen, in my opinion, is just usable in all conditions. Yes, I was disappointed with those harmonics I just showed you. I wasn't surprised, but they are a little bit worrying on the CB transmit because a couple of those were right in the middle of the aircraft band. It depends if you're happy with it. I know some of you really don't give a monkey's and you'll be fine with it. I feel a bit uncomfortable about transmitting anything near the aircraft band. But unfortunately, they're just rushing these radios out. So that'll be it for this video. The next one will be along fairly soon, so look out for that. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell notification and all that. Thanks for tuning into this video. And yeah, look out for the next one. So as always, thanks for your view time. Please, please, please stay safe. Catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Fred's in the shed where the magic unfolds. Fred in the shed with his trusty CB. He's a friend to the lonely on a frequency.